Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Nikki Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Mrs. Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Nikki Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Mrs. Jones.
Welcome to Sunday After Service Inspirations. I am your girl, Nikki Jones. I am ecstatic to be here today with you. Listen, we are here on Vent Radio with the little plus sign, okay? Vent Radio with the little plus sign, Vent Radio, okay? We are here on Vent Radio, and we are here for Empower Sunday, empowering you to change the world. Yes, you can change the world. Yes, I took that.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it with just you, okay? Listen, we're here today, and we have a special guest in the audience, in the building, in the room.
So churchy.
I know. I am.
So churchy.
Listen, that's in my roots. It's in my blood. It's in my bones. I can't help it, okay? That's just who I am. I am so excited to be here today. Let me just say hello to my favorite engineer, Miss April Barry.
Thank you.
And to my right, I would love to introduce to some and present to others. That's churchy. I would love my favorite co-host, the only, the one, the pastor, Denise Thomas.
Might as well keep in line with being churchy. Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Praise the Lord, saints. Praise the
Lord. Right. And our special guest today, I'm excited to just relinquish this microphone to her. She is an award-winning poet and actress, okay? She is a mother, and she's a writer and a creative, born right here, raised in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
She has performed on stages such as the Detroit Opera House, the Fox Theater, the Music Hall, and many other local venues. She also travels for both performances as well as to compete in poetry slams. Yes. This beautiful woman here believes art heals and breaks down barriers. It is a creative oxygen and the greatest healing tool. Her debut spoken word album, Organized Chaos Volume 1, can be found on all streaming outlets right now. I want to present to you and introduce to others, Miss Arrie Lane. Woo!
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. You know, I love me some Nikki now.
I love you too, girl. I love you too. Listen, she and I met several years ago when we were with Miss Shirley. We were with Miss Shirley, and Miss Shirley was whipping us into shape for perilous times. And we were
y'all sang.
Yes, not just sang, honey. We had to sing and dance and move and stoop and fall out and all of that kind of stuff. Oh, it was a beautiful experience. And so we met, and she has just been a joy to know. I cannot explain how many times you've come into contact with people who just have a negative spirit, but that has never been Miss Arrie. Never been that. And her son is just like her. Just a ball of energy and positivity, and he's just a shining star as well. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I am blessed. I can't complain. It's a journey, but you learn to love the journey, right?
Listen, I've seen your posts on Facebook, and I've seen some of the things that you've gone to and through, and I'm just grateful that what you've gone through, you don't look like what you've been through.
Listen.
You have several stories, and I'm not gonna try to tell your story. I'm relinquishing the mic today because one, I want you to tell us who you are, and then you can go right into performing if you want to. If you need to take a break or whatever, let me know how you want to run this. This is gonna be your show. We want to showcase Arrie Lane today and the gifts and the talents that are inside of you.
Amen.
Thank you. See, I can't stop smiling. Look, smiling is contagious and it's infectious. So that's a beautiful thing. That's one thing that I've always loved about you, Nikki, is that you carry that energy with you. Like no matter what you've been through and what you're going through, like you are always you're the same. And I appreciate people who are who they are.
Thank you.
You know, that is like, I'm gonna spread love and light. Even if today I don't feel the most love and light, I'm gonna spread that and share that with others. And I admire you. And
thank you.
You know, and shout out to finding your co-host and having that takes a thing, right?
Yes.
To like find somebody that you vibe with, like even if y'all disagree, like y'all gonna be good. So that's a beautiful thing. I want to absolutely thank you so much for being, having me here. So who am I? I'm just a girl, a woman. No, my name is Arrie Lane, and I am born and raised in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes.
I love my city till forever.
Yes.
And I'm a creative. Like I've always done creative arts in some form in my life, and it's very funny that I landed back on poetry, right? Because my grandmother taught me my first poem, and she taught it to me by ear. She didn't have a paper that she was reading it from. She orated it to, all of us had our own poems, and so mine was Myself by Edgar Guest, and she would teach it to us, and we would learn to recite it by her reciting it. And I went on to do so many things in creative arts, but I always wrote and stuff, and here I am, like, as of late, really delving back into what that means. Like even going through my life and writing here and there, doing a couple performances, but I was more into theater and choir, and those were my things, but I didn't understand that they were just preparing me for this thing.
Yes.
It's very interesting how things come full circle, but all things work together, right?
Exactly.
I take my theater, my acting, skills that I've learned over the years, and my musical ear that I've like built over the years, and I take that and I mix it with my art, and it conveys a story, which is always what I want, is you to feel something, you to be able to go on some type of journey,
Yes.
So, and like you said, thank God we don't look like what we've been through, right?
Girl.
Baby.
Yes.
I definitely can attest to that. Like my journey is definitely interesting. I deal with autoimmune disorders, and I spent a great portion of my life in and out the hospitals. And I don't say, I've gotten to this place where I've learned to own my truth, whereas before it was like, oh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want people to categorize me or make decisions for me, and decide that I'm, whether I can or can't show up, because I've been showing up, in spite of. And I think that was something I have for myself and to prove. I learned very early on that your perception is everything.
Yes.
If you give up, then your body will give up.
Yes.
If you fight, your body will fight.
Yes.
But you have to, you have to have faith that obviously you're here for a reason, right?
That's right.
So that's why, it's important to just make sure you're connected, make sure you're prayed up, and you understand, even if you don't fully understand your journey, that you understand it enough.
Yes.
Enough to keep going. And sometimes, some days are hard, but I'm just grateful. I choose happy. Happy is a choice.
Yes.
And I was learned that just dealing with things, it's like you either you can choose to be angry, or you can choose to be better, be happy, learn the lessons.
Yes.
It's always, nobody can ruin your day, right? People
Unless
be like,
you get
oh,
up to
they
let 'em.
ruined my day.
Right,
Ruined my
let
day,
'em.
baby. Can't nobody ruin your day but you.
Right.
You gonna stay angry all day? Like, who wants to do that? It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
It is.
I think I take that, and it allows me to to connect with others, right? And you know, we have empathy. We all talk a lot about sympathy, but I'm not talking about sympathy. I'm talking about empathy.
Right.
And the ability to connect with others.
Yes.
Even if you ain't been there before, you understand, like, I done been through something that felt like a 10. Now, this may be a 10 for you.
Right.
But I know what a 10 feels like
for me. Yes.
You know, so I can empathize with that even if I never been there before.
Right.
And that through writing and performing, I think that I tap into that. And I love connecting with people and, you know, telling stories.
Yeah.
So
you got some stories to tell?
got some stories.
What kind of poetry stories you got to tell?
So this was a fun piece for me to do. This is actually the piece that I performed this year in the Motown Mic competition. Which was awesome.
Yes.
A great experience. Shout out to my mentor, One Single Rose.
Yes.
Yes, so this piece, this year's theme is, or was, because it's past, was how Motown changed America.
Okay.
And we all just had to give our own take on that through poetry.
Okay.
And so this is the piece I came up with.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And this piece was called That Motown Legacy. So.
Okay.
Mom's put out the records. A needlepoint transports me to Hitsville, 1959, where Berry Gordy Jr. changed the world as I would know it forever. Here, we learned you don't need sight to see or paint wonders of ribbons in the sky. Blind can still mean artist. Stevie painted vibrations, taught us to read braille frequencies. And wasn't it supreme how four tops could spin, how spinners could wear four tops or more? How smoky screens actually gave clarity. How Smokey could describe an action, person, place, or thing. Maybe it's just my imagination running away with me. But I swear I heard it through the grapevine. Motown gave us reasons to find sunshine on cloudy days.
Yes.
Even if Papa was a Rolling Stone. With what the world is today, this ball of confusion we're on is the reason I can't help myself and affirm. Ain't no mountain high enough. I gotta keep on trucking. Didn't it birth generations with sexual healings that started with dancing in the streets to partying all night long?
Yes.
Turned folks into super freaks who made baby loves that grew up learning you can't hurry love, and that still was going on.
Still.
Ain't Motown so Junior Martin Luther King? Ain't Berry Gordy Jr. so I have a dream? Ain't it just like Motown to be so Motor City? So engine running so broken, watch timeless. And I'm teleporting, records still spinning, take me to living room cleaning, Mary well singing, happy birthday to you, broken into 4-part harmony, if I were your woman pining, hello new love my Cherie, I'm more finding to first breakups, singing neither one of us into a hairbrush, graduations, showing transitions from boys to men and girls to women, where the end of the road is marked as a milestone and became tradition, moonwalk me to the Jackson 5 Christmas, wrapping gifts, singing Motown's greatest hits, and the sounds of the Temptations meant silent nights with mommy kissing Santa Claus just 'cause it's Christmas time. Whether what can make me feel this way be with my guy or my girl, oh Motown. How Langston Hughes of you amongst critics who didn't always get it in the world that got it, taught me how to be so unstoppable force meeting immovable object, taught me how words, cadences, and melodies break barriers, how guitar strings be like heartbeats, how we connect to our stories. It's the parallel of me and Motown. How we look so familiar even when the tracks of my tears learn to be so tears of a clown. Motown simply whispers, you keep hanging on. And I second that emotion. So don't be so uptight. Everything's all right while these records are going. Motown taught me to be the change I want to see. Helped make me 3 times a lady. It changed America because it changed me. And I know somebody's watching me. Motown magic is mirrored in my reflections, and isn't she lovely? The record stops. Suddenly, my mom looks so much like me. That's legacy.
Woo! Wow! Snaps, baby, snaps! OMG!
Wow! That's awesome! Awesome!
Oh, Pastor Mr. D, what you got to say?
Awesome. I was teleporting. I was on all the trips because I was there for all of it.
Yes.
So I'm just on the trip with her.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And that's what was fun about that piece was, first of all, I spent so long trying to figure out how to start it, right? And so literally, art imitates life. My mom pulled out some shout out to Jennifer Lang, because that's my mama.
That's your mom.
All right. So, but she pulled out, she was like, look what I found. She literally pulled out 2 Motown records, the ones that go on, the
LP.
Yeah.
The LP.
And I was like, boom, that's how I'm going to start it, because I didn't know how I was going to start it. And it was just so beautiful, because then it helped everything transition. But I wanted to make it apparent how crazy Motown literally is woven into society, and not even just America but the world.
Man.
You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Oh man,
Absolutely.
Motown Magic is an actual show on Netflix that is executive produced by Smokey Robinson, and it is a cartoon that kids watch that honors all those hits and stuff. And I'm like, when I found this out, I was like, yo, that's crazy. I want to use that a week before it was due to be finalized.
Wow. Isn't there also a live performance of Motown that was, I don't think it's still, but it was going from city to city?
Yes, the play.
Motown Review
Right,
or
they
something.
did have a play.
Yeah.
The musical, yeah.
Yeah, I had auditioned for that, but I didn't make that cut. But that's okay. That was some years ago, though. I'm joking. I love Motown. The time that I got to spend, we had mentor sessions. We got to meet with people high up in Motown Records themselves to just talk about branding and building. Last year I had the honor of sitting in a master class with Smokey Robinson.
Oh wow.
And they've really Motown Museum, Hitsville Next, and just that brand itself has just really cultivated, and what they put into the artists, is just, it's been a beautiful experience. I've done it 2 years. I didn't get first place this year, so we'll be back next year.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But you know what though? I'm a shout out Ben Will.
Because I was just about to say, listen,
Ben Will was the winner this year.
his amazing self.
Yes, he is amazing, and I'm gonna have him on next. I'm gonna have him on pretty soon.
He's
but
such a great energy.
He is. We worked together at United Way, and I had no idea that all of that was in him. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea that all that was in him. But shout out to Ben Will. Ben, we love you. We're gonna have you on too. All right.
Shout out to Will. He's his energy, his talent, his pen is. I love people. That's why I'm like, I didn't win, but I can take a L when I know doggone well that his piece was fire.
Wow.
Brother put
I
in
can't
the
wait
work.
to hear it.
Y'all can catch that finale. Anybody tuning in or listen next for the next show, because he'll be here. He'll probably do it for you guys.
Yes, that's what I want.
But tune in the Motown Museum's YouTube channel. You can go see the whole finale from start to finish.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyways, that being said, I'm gonna do another piece for you guys. Is that cool?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I heard you ain't smiled in a while. Heard it's been so long you barely remember how. Heard you thought yourself too tattered to be beautiful. That happiness was a gift that you hadn't earned. I heard darkness had become your new home with very little light to depend on. Heard you cry more than you laugh these days. Heard it's been months since anyone has seen your face. Heard you've been searching for Sunday's grace in a bottle. Heard you found yourself at what feels like rock bottom. But I always thought you were a caterpillar though. And see, I think you've mistaken your cocoon for a prison, but I get it. It's hard to see the light in the dark. Hard to be growing into who you are while the world is passing you by. Hard to feel stuck in a space and still feel alive. I bet you thought you were living a lie. Bet you thought your purpose had died. Bet you thought yourself forever a caterpillar, never to be a butterfly. But see, you called it buried. I call it planted. You see rain, me, nourishment. It hurts. I know. I get it. Growing pains. I heard you found yourself blossoming. And then I wonder if flowers ever really know that they're blooming. Or do they just find themselves surrounded by darkness? And are they simply reaching for the light? That's it.
Woo, okay. I was with bated breath.
Where you going with this? They in this dark place. Can they come out the dark place? Yes. a lot of times when we're in dark places, though, we think that we're being punished, and do flowers really know that they're blooming? They're just living their purpose to grow, and there's a process to growth, and the moment that we understand that there's a process to growth, we look at the process differently.
Yes.
We don't feel like we're being punished so much as we feel like we're being nourished and given those things to build. But when you're in those spaces, it's really hard.
It is.
It's hard to know you a butterfly.
It is.
You like, man, this is just
you don't look like it. You know what I'm saying?
It don't feel like
you don't see it.
You're just looking like, how is it that, how are you so far ahead of me? You know?
Sometimes I think, like, when we see life as a journey, it kind of helps us because, you know, that particular place that we're at in the journey, it can be difficult. It can feel stagnant. It can feel other, but we understand this is a journey.
Absolutely.
And even though I can't feel, like, we can't really feel the earth moving, you know, but it's moving, you know.
Yes.
And so we're moving, you know, regardless of where we are, we're always moving forward.
For one thing, time is not stopping.
No,
Ever.
It's not.
Time has not stopped. It will never stop.
No.
And so sometimes for me, I have to come to a realization that no matter what I choose to do in this moment, time is not going to stop. So why should I?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, why should I? There's always going to be time to do it again. There's always going to be time to start over. There's always going to be time to make a change. There's always going to be time to try it again. To try it again, you know, because time is not going to stop for anybody.
I totally agree. And I think once we embrace that and we understand that life is a bunch of moments strung together.
Yes.
Just as you're in this moment, you'll be in another moment. Like, this just seemed like a longer moment than others, but, you know, to whom much is given, it's sometimes that's how you like, but is that, it don't feel fair. It ain't supposed to feel fair, you know, but you learn gratitude and being grateful and understand that it could be worse. I tell people all the time, like, you know, don't forget to appreciate your rainbows. You know, remember your rainbows, because a lot of times when we're in those stages and those places, it's really hard to find like that glimmer of hope. Because and that's all I mean. Just remember the things that you do have to be happy for, and when you're going through, it just helps you get through. I tell people, if it's a cookie that day, well, that better be the best cookie ever. You know, sometimes it get like that.
Sometimes it be that way. For me, it's peach cobbler. I mean, I'm just saying. If I got a little bit of peach cobbler left, I'm gonna be all right.
Okay.
I'm gonna be all right.
Absolutely. You gotta find something to be thankful for. And I know that sounds so petty, but sometimes people, if that's all you can grab onto, I ain't mad at you.
If it takes you from 1 minute to the next, and then you can find something in that next minute to be thankful for, then, you know, whatever it takes is my thing. You know
something
what I'm
to
saying?
shift those what they call it,
Shift your
oxytocin
mindset.
levels, and get your mind to get to see a little bit more sunshine. You know, I think that you have to do what you need to do within a healthy respects, that is, you know.
So tell me what kind of struggles have you gone through in terms of being a mother? Because I know you have a son, so, and I know you're single. So what are those struggles, and how have you woven poetry and your artistry into being a mother and struggling on that side? If you have I mean, I know you do, but
listen, we got.
How old is your son?
My son is 10. He'll be 11 in September.
Okay.
Yeah. I am a single mother, and that is definitely a journey. It's a journey without adding anything to it, right? Definitely, I'm thankful for my village. I understand that everyone isn't blessed to have a village, but I'm thankful to have mine. You know, that being said, that's part of the journey is being, and then my son really, like, he supports what I do. He loves what I do. You know, he's always like, "Mommy, we're rooting for you." You know, I'm proud of you, Mommy. So that is very encouraging, because sometimes that's going out of town and, you know, having to go for a few days at a time, and so he does understand that, but then also just coping with homework and balancing that. So I'm and homework is a thing, child. When you have children,
who you telling?
They didn't tell me that I go back to school.
You go back to school, right?
Nobody told me.
Nobody told me either.
No, but apparently you do.
Yes.
And baby, that's a journey. But I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I always, I wouldn't change his father. I wouldn't change because then I wouldn't have my son.
Right.
I think that we have to remember that when we talk about being single parents and, if I would go back, I wouldn't change anything because my son is amazing. He's brilliant. He gets on my nerves, but he in the same breath astounds me.
Yes.
He's a little brilliant mind. And I might be biased, but I don't think it's just my bias. I think he's pretty brilliant, And if I am biased, no.
And that's okay.
My child.
Yeah.
That's right. That's your child. That's your son.
But it is a journey. It is definitely learning. Children teach you the greatest lesson in patience you will ever learn.
Girl.
Okay.
I learned patience this morning. Yeah.
They are a constant lesson.
Constant. With the capital T.
And do you think sometimes that the character of our children, that it's really designed by God? Some of it, that whole,
absolutely.
the whole reap sow principle, we know that's true, but what I found in raising a child is that it also causes you to go back and deal with maybe unresolved issues from your childhood. Because they come and then it forces you to look at stuff that you had forgot all about. You're like, wow, I dealt with this.
It's funny that you said that. I have a poem, and if I knew it by heart fully right now, I'd do it. But there's a line where I say, children are sent to teach us the lessons that only children can teach us. Yeah. Like our children teach us lessons that if it were anyone else, we would not get the lesson. So because you are taught this level of unconditional love in a child that you aren't taught in other relationships. This is my child. It teaches you empathy on a different level.
Yes.
Because raising a child, what you learn is, like, I want to hold you accountable, but like you're a baby, you're still growing, and it teaches us that we're still learning, we're still growing, and to keep that in mind when we look at other people, they're still learning, they're still growing.
Yes,
Children teach you that like no other because if you were somebody on the streets, you have moments like that with your child. Like, I wouldn't talk to you no more. I mean, maybe I'm being too honest there.
No, girl, you're right.
But they teach you to understand. They teach you to empathize with that, I couldn't imagine just throwing my child to the wolves and just being like, I don't want to deal with you. But so they teach you to deal with those type of personalities, those type of energies when you're out in this world. And I truly believe that God gives them a special dose of this and a little dose of that. Because I'm still a child and I'm still learning, I'm still growing, right? So then what does your parent do, right? Your parent gives you what you need to grow. So I believe that children fully come to teach you and help you grow in ways only that they can.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
So tell me, when you started doing poetry, you were how old? You were.
I was about 7, I would say. So that was when my grandmother started teaching us like those. And that was when I had to learn Myself by Edgar Guest. That was my poem. My brother's was A Boy's If. Excuse me. And so I would say I started to learn what poetry was. I didn't have a full understanding of it yet, but I was learning what it was. And then growing up, like in my 10s, I would just kind of write. And so writing was always a good outlet for me. I wrote stories and what I now would call short poems and songs and things like that. That was the way that I communicated my feelings, at least with myself, to get them out.
Okay, so you have a video out now, right? Yeah. So tell us about the video and what was the inspiration behind it.
Okay, so I do have a video out. Actually, I have 2 videos out. The most recent video is called Spiritually Lifted. It is just my take on love. Like, I was sitting one day and I was like, if I was in love with someone, right? What would this feel like? What does that feel like for me? And it feels like you done changed my whole world. You did something to my spirit and I ain't been right ever since. I don't know what it is, but I haven't been the same person as I was before. And I can't, and so it was my vision on, my take on, what does that feel like for me? Like, how would I describe love? And how do I think it feels as of right now? I know a lot of what I thought it felt like, but what does it really feel like? It feels like this, foreign land but welcoming place. Like, I've never experienced it, but You know, I want to be here.
Foreign land, but welcoming place. I like
Yes.
that.
You know, I think that's what love is.
Wakanda.
Listen, Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever.
I so wish it was real. Oh my gosh, I wish Wakanda was real.
I'd go visit Wakanda.
Girl, I go live there.
Yeah,
I love
be
it.
out of here.
I'd be out of here. So how has your poetry evolved from the first time you performed to the most recent time you've performed?
I would say the level of, I don't want to say nervousness, but a little bit. I think there's always, when you perform, first of all, it's a myth. People get nervous even if they don't look like it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Absolutely.
It's a myth, right? It's
Absolutely.
People like, I can't imagine that because you look so.
Exactly.
I do a great job, don't I?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I definitely think like if I've been forced to get more creative, I've been forced. It forces my pen because I'm like, people are gonna get tired of hearing the same stuff. Now they get tired of it probably less than I do. I get tired of, like, after a while I'm like, y'all need something new. I want to get something different, and I like to challenge myself in like all these different ways. So I would say my writing has grown.
Good.
And because my writing has grown, my performance has grown, because it starts out with the creating the vision, and you get more comfortable in your growth and trying these new styles out, and I've gotten more comfortable with testing things out and being outside of this box of norm that, you know, may be given, like, oh, you do love poems, oh, you do blackity black poems, oh, you do, and it's really like, I just do what I want.
How about
Whatever
that?
you're feeling at that time.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about your videos. Now, how can people view those?
You can view those on YouTube, on my Facebook, my business page on Arrie Lane. I'm Arrie Lane on everything, you guys. ARRIELANE. I'm Arrie Lane on everything. On Instagram, squish them together. On Facebook, add a space. On YouTube, just the same. You can view them on both of those places, though.
Okay.
I have a video called My Black Allegiance, and then I also have a video for Spiritually Lifted. Now, my very first video was actually a short film, and it was my mental health awareness piece called Untitled. And it was a conversation between two friends, one that actually was on the end of, you know, suicide, and the other who was the friend. And, you know, a lot of times we don't have those conversations. And so we were nominated for a few awards. So that was an awesome thing, but it was also a way that I coped at the time, and knowing someone that had done that, and so that was my way of dealing with it. And so I don't think we talk about it as much as we should, and I know that it is becoming more of a conversation, and that's a beautiful thing. So I think that and you can also see that on all of my on YouTube as well as my Facebook page as well. But I just bring that up to say there are so many things to talk about in art, in poetry, singing, and rapping, and whatever we do. I think whatever you do, you want to make sure that you're being true to yourself, and honoring you got to have something that it comes from.
Yes.
You know, from a good place. And I'm not telling anybody how to do their art, but for me, it's part of who I am. I want to spread love, and that looks different. And so that's why you can do a mental health awareness piece, and one about love, and one about, you know, Black power, empowerment, and all this different stuff.
Yes.
And it's still love.
Yes.
Yeah, because if art imitates life, then there's always going to be so much, you know, that we can. I have a niece who writes, and she writes from such a dark place. She's been doing that for a long time. And I ask her sometimes, I said, do you ever think about, you know, trying to write from a place that's a little lighter than that darkness? And I think she's finally rounded the corner, but it used to really concern me because everything that she wrote was so dark.
And you know what it is? What it is a lot of times when people write, they're releasing. So you'll hear a lot of poetry sometimes can get stuck. It's easier to tap into those things that make you sad. It's a challenge to some people to tap into those other realms because they're really just releasing. There are some things that I write just because I need to get it out. Writing is healthy. I encourage anybody to journal. Sometimes just getting it out on paper, you're like, oh, child. I went back in old notebooks and said, well, I was in a space.
It's crazy how when you go back, you go like, I wrote this.
Yeah.
But it's in my journal, in my room, in my
It's very therapeutic, writing, and so it's better out than in, I would say. So.
Yes. Just like gas.
She was
Okay,
putting
go
it
ahead.
out. No, go ahead.
I said just like gas. It's better out than in. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Please don't hold your gas. Listen, it was a story about that.
Back up to your heart, you'll think you having a heart attack,
Hello?
baby.
I keep telling folks, you better let that out. Some killing yourself trying to hold that in.
We taking you way
I'm
on
so sorry.
on the rabbit trail. Look, welcome to SASI. This
Hey, we here. I'm here for it.
This is what I do. I'm not trying to tell you. That's the first thing that came to my mind when you said better out than in.
Because that goes with it.
It goes with that. It just goes with it. Okay.
My grandma
So,
used to say that.
let me ask you this: when was the moment when was your aha moment? Like, this is who I am. This is what I should be doing. What was that aha moment for you? Like, where were you? What was the circumstance? If you can share it, like when the light came on, it was like, duh, Arrie, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, this is
what was that? Yeah, what was that moment for you?
I think it was post-pandemic, the start of the pandemic, where, because I was like, okay, I like this. I really enjoy this. People are receiving it. And even before that, like, I would do like videos like every 2 years or so. I would like put a video and it would get shared and it would get tons of reaction. And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And there was a disconnect, clearly. I was like, I am doing my acting thing and I still act, right? But I was like, I had this plan. And I was like, yeah, people like my poetry. All right, cool. And it was after I had done, even after I had released the mental health awareness piece, even after that, even after my friend's birthday event, which was an open mic, I always give her a shout out because she invited me to her birthday celebration. It was an open mic, and that was like the whirlwind of, there's a world of this. And that was just 2019. So, wow. And so I had a feature performance, and it had been a while since we had been in person and all this stuff, and the people showed up. And like they showed us, I was like, oh, y'all really mess with me, like for real. And then just to talk to, not just that, but just in talking to people and hearing the relatability and how they connected with the pieces and like, people can speak life into you and you're like, oh wow, thanks. And in your head you're like, oh, they ain't talking about me. I mean, they're talking to me about me, but they're not talking about me to me. Like, it took me a while to accept, like, it's weird. It's like accepting compliments and people saying like, this is a path. I knew that I enjoyed the journey, though. A lot of times people are like, well, which one are you? Are you a poet or you're an actress? I'm like, actually, I'm both. I'm everything that I said that I am. And in this moment, I'm utilizing all those skills. In any given moment, I can take from poetry and I can use it in my acting, and I take from my acting and use it in my poetry, and they both inform each other. But right now, I am accepting this is the door that God wants me to be through right now. Okay. Life is a bunch of journeys and moments strung together. And in this moment, God is saying, right, do your poetry. This is how you're going to reach the world right now. And so I'm going to honor that. Yes. I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
And I think it was in that moment where I was like, okay, like they really want to hear what I have to say. And they're not just talking. I think we go through those stages where people say they're in your corner, and like it's interesting because the same people that were like, yeah, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, I don't know where they went because new people will show up. So I never get caught up in who's not showing up.
There you go.
Because I've found that if you go, just go, and what you need will be provided within that.
That's true.
And I don't have to have all the answers. I knew that I was supposed to be going in poetry venues and doing poetry. And in the beginning, I was literally going alone. It was just me, just showing up, sitting alone, taking it in.
Yeah.
And I've met so many amazing people in this process just because I was willing to go alone.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Beautiful people, amazing people.
I hear you. So when you're going alone, how has that journey transitioned you to be able to want to put yourself out there? You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, you were going alone for a long time, and so now people are pushing you. Am I right? Like, so some people are pushing you. Do you sometimes feel like, okay, y'all pushing me a little too hard? Like I ain't trying to do all that. I just want to do this.
I'm open to listening because I think that creativity. There might be some stuff I like, so I'm open to hear the possibilities. But whenever I feel, they mean well. First of all, that's the thing that I remind myself is they mean well. And then if I feel like overwhelmed, I'll say, okay. I understand that you have this vision for me, but let me explain the vision that I have for me. And if these two align, cool, but I can't choose just your vision for me and totally overlook what I have envisioned. I got plans too. So, but some stuff end up aligning with those. And I actually was thinking about doing that. So it's crazy that you brought that up. And so we can marry, or I thought about doing that later down the line. And so I've learned to speak up for myself.
That's good. That's
in that
good.
you have to, because people mean well, but their plans and ideas for you don't always equate to your plans and what you see and what you want matters. Even in regards to stepping out and like, oh, that sounds out of. I'm not gonna not try something because it seems out of my usual. I'm more likely to want to try it. However, don't force it upon me. Let's talk about it. Let's come up with a game plan, and let's try and figure it out together. So it's just taking a little bit of that power back and saying, hey, woo,
Yeah.
hit him with the pause real quick.
We're gonna pause right there for the pause.
Hold that thought. That's great. All right.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. But did you ever think, what about, and just go with me here.
Just go with me.
And let's go on a journey. All right. How'd you like that? So just learn it. And then you can do that with love too. Like you don't have to, it doesn't have to come off rude or anything. It's just very honest.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I deal with it a little bit.
So how are you dealing with your haters?
You know what's funny? I'm learning, like, I don't focus a lot of my energy on haters. I find it very interesting when people get obsessed with haters. If you like me, I'm not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. I'm gonna treat you in love, but I've got so many people that speak life into me, and like, I'm gonna go over here. I like them, so I'm gonna give y'all deserve my energy. You believe in me, have spoken into me, have like. So why would I feel like it's kind of slap in the face for all the people that show up for you to get caught up in a hater. Now they exist, I'm sure, but I just try not to focus on who doesn't like me, because most haters don't usually have the courage to say it to you, anyways. So I have a cousin that says if it ain't directed, it ain't respected. So,
all right.
And you said earlier, you just love everybody. You love those people, and just keep it moving. They tend to fall off when they don't get a reaction.
Either they rise to the energy, or they fall off. I'm real big on that. Either you're gonna, I'm gonna stay up here, and either you're gonna join me up here on this frequency, or you're gonna fall off. But I'm not gonna lower myself to come and talk to you on that level, because I just don't. Why should I? Because then I'm saying you have the power. You have that much power over me to control my energy. You have successfully succeeded And what you wanted was me to acknowledge you. You wanted me to clap back, and I gave you that.
And you validated it.
And I gave you that attention.
validation.
I'd rather you be like, did she know I exist? I do, but I'm not going to give you that.
Right.
You know, every now and again, you have people that are like very in your face with their disrespect. And like, you kill them with kindness. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, because sometimes people can catch you on a day.
Hold it with a little hood. That hood is still.
Yeah.
Hold it with a
Try
hood.
Jesus.
There's a little
Don't
hood.
try me.
You know,
You might catch these hands.
listen, I didn't say I was perfect.
Yes.
And then you done caught me on my less perfect day when your feelings might get hurt.
I'm working on it.
Nah, I'm dangerous with these words. Nah, you ain't
Yes,
heard.
you are.
Steve Harvey
I ain't
said, I
got
ain't that
touch
good of a Christian yet.
Not yet. He's still
You
working
ain't
on it.
knowing me. You know, but that's cool though. You know, it just reminds, because that's good for you too. It's good for me because it reminds me, you still got some work to do.
Yes, absolutely.
You ain't quite
absolutely.
there yet.
You're not quite there yet.
And that's okay.
You have not attained.
Nah.
You have not attained.
Still got a little bit of that
Still
flush.
yes.
Got a little bit of that flush.
The
in you.
flushing. Yes.
And that helps you be more, again, that helps you be more empathetic towards others.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it helps you understand, like, you ain't got it. What make you think they gonna always have it?
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
They might be having their day.
You know?
And it might be up to you to just let them have that day and you go about your business.
Absolutely. Yes. I fully agree. So, you know.
So what you got coming up, sis?
You know what? It is a beautiful Sunday, and actually, this evening, from 5 to 8 p.m., I will be at 27th Letter Bookstore for a feature and open mic. Now, this is a free open mic. It is a food drive. So we are encouraging, please bring your canned goods and your non-perishables. All the donations are going to be donated to Gleaners. That's at the 27th Letter Bookstore on Michigan Avenue. That is from 5 to 8. And it's also going to be an open mic. I'm going to do a whole set. I'm the feature artist for today. Yeah, so you know, y'all got a couple pieces. Y'all gonna get a few more.
Yes.
So yes, that's tonight.
That's exciting. What
I'm
city
super
is that
excited.
in?
That is in Detroit. That is in Detroit at
Michigan
the
Avenue in
27th
Detroit.
Letter.
Where is that? Do you know?
That is on, I believe, I want to call it Midtown.
Okay.
Midtown on Michigan Avenue.
Oh, Michigan Avenue is not near Midtown.
Well, I'm not good with this.
So that's like Southwest Detroit.
Southwest, and
Southwest
then
Detroit.
it goes to
Southwest.
Dearborn if you
So
go further.
it would
Southwest.
definitely be
Like Livernois, over in that
Southwest
area,
Detroit.
Southwest Detroit.
one of them areas in Detroit that I'm from, because you know, growing up we was just like east, west, downtown, southwest.
Right.
But then I'm not
So
good with
it's
directions.
27th. It's like
27th Letter Bookstore.
okay. It's not on 27th Street.
No,
Okay,
no.
just checking. Just checking.
It's the 27th Letter. Now, don't do
live
me
on
like that,
28th
nigga. I ain't that bad.
I used to live on 30th Street. So
Listen.
Yeah. Okay.
Detroit is
Round the
so multifaceted. I just know a lot about the west
got
side.
my
I ain't gonna
Jesus.
hold y'all up. When we start going eastward, child, I am of no service, but I can give y'all the exact
You just from the west
address.
side.
West side. I was west and east side.
Listen,
All of it.
I was, you know, I moved from the east side when I was in the like 8th grade. And so, you know, all your informative years you spend in your like 13s and ups.
Yes.
So this, I'm going to give you guys the exact address.
Okay, cool.
So the exact address is 3546 Michigan Avenue, 48216. And that's the 27th Letter Bookstore.
Got it.
And that is from 5 to 8. It costs you nothing, but we encourage you to bring some canned goods and non-perishables.
Yes.
And just sow into a good cause.
All the donations are going to Gleaners.
Yes.
I just volunteered at Gleaners the other day, and it was interesting because when you're actually getting the food together, you know, packaging the food up or whatever,
Making
you
the
don't
boxes.
realize. Yes, you don't realize how many people have actually come through. So I was inside, putting the perishables in a crate and putting the dairy products in a crate or a box or whatever, and getting food together, putting them in the baskets that they bring out, because they service people outside now. And so people were driving up, and at the end of the day, it was like an end of a 4-hour period, and they were like, take a guess at how many people we've serviced today. And I was like, we got buggies going around. I did. I was like, probably about 30 or 40. You know what I'm saying? She was like, no.
Hundreds.
It was well over 80.
Gee whiz. So yeah.
In a 4-hour period of cars just lined up, and I never saw. She was like, "Oh, they were lined up around the block while you guys were working."
But you were like in go.
I was just in go mode, and you don't realize. And some of those all those weren't like full baskets. Some of those were like emergency kits or emergencies. People coming in saying, "I don't have any milk for my baby."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have any diapers or whatever the case may be. I don't have any food, and it was humbling.
Yeah,
it was humbling.
We worked. Embassy did a volunteer day, but
Yes.
I also work at the warehouse,
right,
where we package the boxes that they give to people, and it's phenomenal. The food that's donated. I mean, when I say warehouse, I mean warehouse.
Yes.
Just pallets and pallets and pallets of stuff, and then we have an assembly line with those rollers.
Yes,
and we put a box on one end, and everybody stands in line. You put your dried beans, you put whatever you got, and we do, and they take pallets.
Yes.
They'll tell us to stop only when they've got so many thousands, and then they say, okay, you guys, you can go today. We got enough, and they deliver that somewhere. So it's a great.
It's really rewarding.
I
want to encourage
is.
anybody, if you've never done any type of community service or anything, I just want to encourage you all to just do something to give back. I'm not here to tell you what that has to be or what that has to look like, but it feels good to give.
Yes.
And when you understand that when you're able to give freely, then you are open to receive just as well.
Yeah.
And you want to give from a good place. We make it a point to take my niece and my son. My mom started with them where every holiday, every Christmas and Thanksgiving time, between that time, they'll put together bags with like toiletry items and things like that. And we take it to the convalescent home where my grandmother was before she passed, and they hand those out. But just doing those little things are good for them, and it's rewarding to give back.
And you meet good people when you're out volunteering.
Yes.
You meet some people that you make for friends.
Yes.
And when my son was little, I used to make him, because when you have everything, it's hard for kids to really get a picture.
Exactly.
I'd make him. We delivered to Meals on Wheels on a holiday, on a Christmas. You go up to take a meal to an old person, and they're in the house. They can't even get to the door, so they just leave their door unlocked.
And they appreciate even just those little interactions and things.
Yes.
It made a difference in my son.
Sometimes it's just a conversation that people want, and it's not even about what you're bringing to them.
Absolutely.
Outside of your presence and just a listening
just some
ear.
Human contact.
Just some human contact.
And speaking of giving back really quickly, because like I said, it looks differently, I would just like to say if there are any small businesses in the Detroit or like outskirt area, Southwest Detroit and Southfield or whatever, you have a small business and you're looking to have a couple student interns that no cost to you. I do work during my day job.
All right.
I work with students at my mom's company. We work with students in the Detroit area, and we do summer internships for them. We pay them to get different job experiences because we're funded to do so. And so we just team up with small businesses and say, how can we help you all? They gain experience as well. And things like that. We know being a small business is a lot of work.
Yes.
And so having some assistance, that will help anybody, right? So if you're interested in finding more information about that, you can email me at ARRIE@dreamtech, that's DREAMTEK.org. ARRIE@dreamtech, that's DREAMTEK.org. And so I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, that's good info. That's good info.
And I promise you, within this last week, I just told somebody that needs help, and I got to remember who it was. And I said, you can always get you college interns. They're looking for this experience, but if somebody else is paying them, now I got to remember who it was.
Yeah. So what ages are
these
you?
are high school age students. So these students range from somewhere between, depending on ages, it can be anywhere from about 14 to like 18.
Okay, my 11-year-old can't come.
No, not yet. Not yet. But soon.
He need a job.
But, and then, so We just trying
That's good.
to
That's
give them
good.
experience. So
That's
That's
exciting.
good.
That's
So
exciting.
tell me about the awards you've received already. So I know you won third place in the Motown for this
Right.
year, but what was some of the other ones? Because you've had several.
So I just came back from Cincinnati about a month or so ago. We got first place.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So in the Cincinnati Poetry Slam, I have placed first in the Half a Stack Poetry Slam here in Detroit by Joe Flint Green.
Yes.
I've also placed. I've got a lot of twos under my belt. So last year I went and I did the Gods and Goddesses Poetry Slam that was out in Rockford, Illinois.
Okay.
And that was with a grand prize of about $2,000, and it was up against poets from all around the state. Around the country, not state. So from St. Louis and North Carolina and just all over, and Chicago and all these places. And so I placed second in that. Detroit holding it down.
From the D.
Last year I did compete in the Motown mic where I also got second place last year. So we have been in Cincinnati and we have been in Kentucky. I did the Lipstick Wars Slam in Kentucky. We placed second there. So different, but this year I have spoken, I've already spoken my first places into
All right.
existence.
Yes. Come on now. Come on.
Yes.
What's gonna happen?
But I've met so many amazing people. A lot of times you learn that the place, being award winning is great. Being able to say that I have awards at home that I can look to and say, I have something tangible, but the relationships that I've built over the past year when I just decided, you know what, I'm going to get out here and I'm going to hit the road and I'm going to go some places and I'm going to compete and I'm going to meet some. I never would have thought the people that I've met, who have offered to say, if you're in town, look, I'll put you up. And if you, just connected me with people in their town for performances and just that networking opportunity. And I've met so many beautiful people. So, it's a win however way you want to look at it,
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
Well, we
that's
have
exciting.
certainly enjoyed your presence
this has
here.
been great.
It's been a
Likewise.
breath
Been
of fresh
great.
air,
Been
and it's so good that the weather has lined up with what we're
wow.
doing, with what we're doing right
Wow.
now.
What a
We had all four seasons last week. Every
Listen,
last one.
didn't we? And it's going to get cold again.
Yeah, it's gonna get cold again.
But I thank God for this reprieve.
Right.
Amen.
Right, my feet are breathing. Hello.
Okay. We're not complaining.
Right, we are not
No,
complaining.
ma'am.
Thank
No,
you
ma'am.
so much, Arrie,
for
for
having
being
me.
here. And we look forward to hearing more from
Yes.
you. And we definitely want to support. I want everybody who's listening, I need you to go to her Instagram. I need you to go to her Facebook. I need you to go to her YouTube.
Yes,
If you can make it out tonight to the 27th.
Letter.
27th
27th
letter.
bookstore.
27th letter. Oh, 26.
Like the alpha,
20
yeah.
Yes, I'm thinking, okay, I see the connection. All right, so 27th letter bookstore, wherever they're going to be on Michigan Avenue. I want you to go there. Go somewhere and support this young lady.
Yes,
Watch the
yes,
videos. Watch
yes,
her poetry. I promise you, you will be uplifted. There's nothing that I've ever seen come from this woman that has brought a person down. It's always to lift a person
Uplifting,
up.
yes,
It's always
yes.
to inspire you or bring you up out of a funk.
Yes,
Okay?
yes,
That is the
yes.
whole purpose. That is why we're here on Empower Sunday on Vent Radio. And you have been listening to Sunday After Service Inspirations. Thank you
right,
so much,
all right,
girl.
all
Thank you.
right.
We love you
I
and
love
we
you. I
support
love y'all back.
you. We will
Thank
be
you.
following you on your career in poetry, and we want you to be encouraged as well. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Peace out.
Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Nikki Jones. Sunday after service inspirations with Nikki Jones. Mrs. Jones. Sunday inspirations with Nikki Jones.